So, real quick before the video starts, if you guys enjoy it, remember to leave a like, and if you want to see more like it, remember to subscribe. Anyway, today I'm back on MAX, and I'm going to be going over everything in the Halloween event. Now, if you played during last year's Halloween event, then this one is very similar to that, but there are a few key changes that are pretty important to know going in. This is also only part 1 of the update, meaning this isn't all that we're going to be getting for Halloween. There's a lot more to come, but we gotta wait until next weekend for that. In the meantime, let's talk about everything added in this part. There's obviously a whole bunch of different items that are added. Most of these are returning from last year. A lot of them are just collectibles. There are a couple of sacreds, limited time reincarnations, and I'll explain how you get all of them as we get to each different part of the event. Starting off with, I think, the most important feature of this entire event, candy. If you interact with this little pumpkin guy here, you can pull up the Halloween menu, you can go into the marketplace. In here, you can buy ghost and pumpkin boxes, which both have all of the Halloween collectibles, and each one has a unique sacred. And then if you scroll down, you can see a whole bunch of different gift items. Now, most of these can't be opened right now. They're gonna open up after Halloween ends, but 3 of the gifts actually can be opened up right now. And those 3 have items that are returning from last year, which are the Arachnid Lover's Gift, the Candy Corn Baking Kit in a gift, and the Unpredictable Gift of the Dark Sun. Every single one of these has a really good item in it, so I recommend going for all of these before anything else, since you can immediately open them and implement them into your setup. Now, in order to get candy, there are a couple of different things that you can do. You can find these little bits of candy just hanging out around the map and run into them. You can also collect candy from interacting with crates like that. You can reincarnate, and that'll give you a small bit of candy. And if you go into the Halloween menu, you can also go into the quest tab, and you can basically earn bonus candy just from doing all of the normal candy obtaining methods. All of these are automatically active whenever you join the game, so you don't have to go and activate the quest or do anything like that. But you do have to manually claim the candy every time you complete one. It does show you a notification in the top right of your screen whenever you get a quest done, so just pay attention to that. Make sure you're collecting your candy as you're going, because otherwise you'll be missing out on a little bit of free candy. And there is one more way that you can earn candy, something that you actually couldn't do last year, which is farming using all of the limited time reincarnation items, and also a couple of the collectibles, which we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, using all of the limited reincarnation items, they get a candy value, starting with the Spooky Excavator. All of the different upgraders have a multiplier, and the Haunted Hotel processes it every 30 seconds. That's important because it means you don't have to have a super fast mine. I'm using the Charlatan imitation, but that doesn't actually matter. The only thing that matters for efficiently farming candy is making sure that you have a consistent stream of ores hitting the furnace, so that every 30 seconds you're getting an ore in as soon as possible. The Aftershock also works on all of the different candy items, meaning you can reuse everything, which is actually really nice and makes the farming a little bit faster. Now, let's circle back real quick to some of these collectibles that you can get. All of these are candy ads, which means you want to use them at the very start of the setup. There are 4 different items like this, and the way that you get these is through completing global quests. Now, these global quests are a little bit different, and the way they work is actually pretty cool. Every 20 minutes, every single server will have one of these global quests activated. There's a random pool of 4 that gets picked from, and it's different in every server, and if you complete the quest, you'll get a little bit of candy, you'll get some of the limited boxes, and if there's 3 or more people in the server, you'll also get an item for it. Those items obviously being all of these, and each one of these items corresponds to which quest that you get. So I'll try and very briefly give an explanation of each quest and how to complete them, so when they pop up, you won't be lost. Starting off with probably the most simple of all of these events, we've got the Swinging Cauldron. When you get this event, a cauldron will spawn next to your base, and all you've got to do is fill it with ore. So you just set down an ore cannon, line it up to where the ores launch perfectly into it, and then spam down a bunch of mines, preferably the fastest mines that you have. This event only allows 1 person to complete it when it pops up, so if you're not first, then you don't get it, but if you're in a public server, usually people aren't going to be fast enough, so if you're actually paying attention and using whatever your fastest setup is, you'll probably get it. Next up, we've got Pumpkin Smasher, which is a little bit more tricky. This one, whenever the notification pops up, if you click on the image of the notification, it'll take you to the specific island that the event is happening at. Once you get there, you gotta look around the island and you've gotta find big white pumpkins, and if you get too close to them, they'll attack you. The way you smash them is by doing a ground pound, which I'm sure most of you didn't even know was a thing that you could do, but if you jump up in the air and then hit Shift and G at the same time, you'll do a little ground pound. And you've just gotta look around the island, try and find every single pumpkin around, and if you smash them all, you'll get the event completion. Next up, we've got the Menace yarn and the Mr. Catterbottom quest. This one is simple, but kind of annoying. This is another island-specific one, so when the notification pops up, just click on the notification, it'll take you to the island, and all you've got to do is go around and find Mr. Catterbottom. There's only one of them that spawns in. It's just a little cat head. Once you see it, it's very obvious, but this one is a little bit tricky. It might take you a couple tries. It took me a couple of tries to get it. You just have to look around, and eventually you'll get lucky and find the cat. Finally, we've got the Jerry Apparition and the Jerry Quest. This one is island-specific as well. Click on the image, it'll teleport you. And in this event, you'll see a bunch of ghosts spawn around the island, and you've got to find Jerry. And you can tell Jerry apart from the other ghosts because he's doing a little dance. He has a little animation, which makes it very easy to spot him out. Yeah, so here's Jerry. This is what he looks like. He's doing a little animation, he's got a little smile. You just jump into him and you complete the event. And you can also still get all of the rewards except for the item if you're in a smaller server. But optimally, you do still want to be going for it in a public server so that you can get the item from it. Now, that covers most of the Halloween-specific content, but there were some other changes that were made during the event. A bunch of miscellaneous stuff that I'll quickly go over. Stuff like a new custom leaderboard, recipes displaying on item inspect, which is actually a really nice feature. So when you go into an item and you scroll down, it'll show you a little recipe tab, and it shows you, for example, the Interstellar Odyssey. You need to use 4 extraterrestrial exoduses to craft it. Very nice feature. They made some changes to notifications, and specifically Ultra and Shadow notifications. There are some fixes for half-unit items to make them a little bit more consistent and easy to work with, which I've found very nice. And very significantly, a bunch of items got buffed. Now, most of these are just the old Halloween items. They just got buffed up to have different status effects to kind of bring them in line with modern-day MAX. A lot of them are a lot more useful now and actually viable in setups when they weren't before. But what I find most interesting about the buffs is that they actually changed all of the Game Pass items. Most of them now have linear prestige scaling, meaning they'll scale with your prestige, making them useful up to the end game. They also made the Divine Upgrader a static for some reason, which is incredibly powerful. They buffed up the Divine Excavator's Furnace buff, and all of them are very useful items now in the late game, but they're not overpowered in the early game, which I think is a really nice balancing change that makes the Game Passes a little more worthwhile. And yeah, all the Halloween buffs are also very much appreciated. A lot of the Halloween items are going to come back into the meta and be a part of setups now, which I think is really cool. And that is everything that came with part 1 of the MAX Halloween update. If there are any specific things that I didn't cover that you have questions about, please let me know in the comments. I will do my best to get back to you and answer any concerns that you have. And stay tuned for part 2. I'll probably make a video like this covering all of the brand new stuff as well. But yeah, until then, thank you guys for watching. I will see you around in the next video. Peace out, everyone.